Good morning and good afternoon. Today I'm very happy to welcome again for the second time Vivien Taylor, actress from
Yeah,
Scotland. How are you, Vivien?
I'm very well,
Thank you
thank you. How
for
are you?
accepting that. You just came back from holiday. How was
Oh, it was so lovely. It was so relaxing. It was about 38 degrees
it?
every day, which is not something I'm used to in Scotland. So it was lovely just to
Yes.
lie in the sun and swim and just relax and forget my worries. Not that I have any, but anyway.
Great. Do you think um, you like to take scripts with you while you are on holiday to read them?
It depends. If the weather's going to be bad, yes. If it's going to be cloudy, absolutely. If the sun's
Uh-huh,
out, I just want to lie in the sun with my eyes shut or be swimming
uh-huh,
or lying on an airbed or something. So it just depends.
uh-huh.
If it's boring weather and there's nothing to do, definitely. But other than that, I just sleep or sunbathe or eat or drink or be merry.
This is nice. Since we spoke last time, I've seen you did a lot of projects, cinema and television and theater as well, right?
Mhm, right, yes.
And so tell me about the recent projects and your characters playing that you played there.
Okay, well, I'm trying to think some of the highlights. So over lockdown, I was in a one-woman movie that was pretty much one woman, called
Yes.
Tealight, which I actually won a couple of awards for, and that was
Uh-huh,
about a young girl who had just lost her parents, and she was still living in the family home, and she was literally being haunted by her memories. She was also agoraphobic, so that dealt a
uh-huh,
lot with her own problems and her own mental health and how she was able to get out of this sort of constricted state of affairs that she was in. So it's a really hopeful film with a good message at the end. But that was great fun to do. And because it was lockdown, we had a very small cast and crew. Well, it was myself and someone else who was in it, but I'm not going to
uh-huh.
say too much because, yeah, I'm not going to say too much. There was another actress in it. But what I was going to say was we kept it very small. We tested every day to make sure that, nobody had COVID. So it was great fun just to work together and actually feel like we were doing something because there was just so much doing nothingness during COVID. I've made up a new
Mhm.
expression, doing nothingness, but it was nice for a while. But I was dying to do something and get my teeth back into a great character, so that was fantastic to do that.
Mhm.
So that's called Tealight, and that's actually available to watch on YouTube. And then I was also
Really?
lucky enough, yeah. And then I was also
Uh-huh.
lucky enough to take part in a film called Censure, which has also won, I think it's won over 40 awards now. But again, it deals with mental health. And
Uh-huh.
I play the mischievous little sister who's just nasty and horrible. And we were able to record that remotely. So
Hmm.
it's actually my voice you hear in it, and the main character, who's played by Connor Wulfric, you only really ever see him, but you hear the rest of his family within the film, but you only ever see his reactions to their speaking. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like a sort of audio film in a way. But Tom Conti played my dad. So
Mhm.
working with him was just incredible. And I don't know if you're familiar with Tom Conti, but he's in Shirley
Sure.
Valentine, which is one of my favourite movies. And to hear my voice with his voice, and oh my goodness, unbelievable. So that was really good fun as well to be involved in that over lockdown, and for both projects to actually be so well received and winning awards and festivals and things like that. I'm trying to think what else. I was lucky enough to have a part in Annika, the TV series, which I believe has played not only in the UK but in Europe and also in America. So I was in an episode of that, and we filmed that
Yes.
during lockdown as well. So again, it was very, very strict, and we were doing COVID tests, and only certain numbers of people were allowed on set at a time. So it was really good to be able to work, but at the same time, it was really interesting just to see how different, COVID had made everything and made the process. So it was just so lovely to work. I enjoyed it so much, even though she was a baddie. I love playing bad characters.
Sure. I've seen a lot of making of films that were shooting during COVID, and it was very hectic for the crew members.
Yep,
They have the mask behind the camera, and
that's right.
yourself, to keep yourself in character and makeup, you need to put
Hmm.
the mask between takes, right?
That's it. And you weren't allowed to
And
stand right beside anyone either when you weren't
uh
filming. So it was all very, very
yes,
strict.
and everybody was worried. And right now, when you tell me about, the role of bad sisters, I remembered, I know you like classic characters and actresses from the black and white era, like Vivien Leigh. It
Hmm.
has your name.
Yeah, of course.
And Grace Kelly. I saw some photos of you, like Grace Kelly, but I remember, whatever happened to Baby Jane, and it's a classic. You
Brilliant.
know,
So funny, isn't it? I know it shouldn't be, but
yes,
it is.
you know. And I
Hmm.
think it could be adaptable right now as well on theater. I think if they offer you one of the roles, it will be very interesting because you will play like an actress as well.
Oh, definitely, that would be great.
Hmm.
So would I be
You
playing like the nutty one, the totally deluded one who still thinks she's like a child and all? That's me.
you know, and when this movie was released, I read that it became like a genre or a franchise in film.
Hmm.
So after which there was, I think, they tried to get them together in another sequel,
Right.
and as well, it started like a wave of films with two, women characters trapped in a home or a mansion during
Yes.
the 70s,
Hmm.
but I want to ask you, I know it's a lot of endeavor for an actor or an actress to play somebody with mental challenging.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
did you feel something, after or during the shooting, playing, challenge character like that, or somebody with strong cases of mental illness? Does it influence you for a time until you recuperate after the shooting, or for you it's
Yeah.
like during the takes as well?
I think certainly during the takes, you
Hmm.
just literally embody the character and you're really in their mind. And when I was playing the character in Tealight,
Yes.
I really was I was in her mindset. Like I was literally looking at there was a scene where there's a coffee cup in the kitchen and it's her dead mother's coffee cup and there's lipstick on it. And I was
Hmm.
actually standing there thinking, right, that's my mum's coffee cup. Imagine if mum had actually died, and really
Yes.
just got into it. So that we had a nice crying scene in the movie. But after it, I had to make sure that I switched off and said something funny, or somebody said something funny to me to break us, to to get out of it, so that we could go on our break and have lunch or whatever, and just not keep myself in that frame of mind that I could actually go, hang on, this is not my life. This Vivien, go back to Vivien's life, right? Let me think about things like Lexi, or let me put
Uh-huh.
on a Prince song and dance about and get back to being me again, because I think it is so easy to get so involved in the character who you're playing and to get into their brain that you have to switch off, otherwise you can do yourself some serious damage.
Yeah.
Years and years ago I was in a show called Bog Off, and it was about a drug addict, and it was basically a 30-minute monologue piece about this girl and how she'd got into heroin. It was basically the whole story of how she got into heroin, what happened while she was on it, and then how she got off it again and how she kind of lived happily ever after. But there
Hmm.
was just so many dark parts of the play that, I had to talk about. And there were times that I would go home and just go, oh, and go, right, hang on a minute, this is not me. Think
Hmm.
back to being Vivien again, because you do get so drained. And I think that's
Hmm.
the thing about acting, it's about being believable. And I think it's more than just saying lines. You've really got to get into that headspace, but you've also got to be able to get back out of it again. Otherwise, you'll just drive yourself mad, quite literally. So that's why I'm
Can
quite a happy person generally, because I always think you have to be, otherwise, it's too easy to get stuck in your own head.
sure. Can you see the comments on the screen?
Um. Oh, yeah, I'm seeing a wee wave. But who's your acting inspiration?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. I really I admire a lot of character actors. I admire
Uh-huh.
a lot of actors who don't just play themselves, but are versatile.
Yes.
Um, that's a really good question. I mean, I love. I'm trying to think. I like. That's a really good question, and you're putting me completely on the spot. Victoria Wood was amazing. She's obviously no longer with us, but she was so versatile, and
Yes.
she could literally turn her hand to any character. You know, she could be dead northern and all right. Well, have you seen my friend? Oh yeah, have you seen my friend? She's called Kimberly. Or else she could be very posh and totally over the top and just wonderful. And I love people that can just play anything. Whereas I think there's a lot of actors that just play themselves. They read the lines as themselves. So I think
Mm-hmm.
being able to just jump around and be any character, that's what it's all about for me. I like playing, the very posh ladies, or, all right, babes, okay, darling, or you just, or American or anything. I just love being able to do it all. So, I don't know, Jack Nicholson as well. I love him. I love his
Mm-hmm.
expressions. I love the fact he can play obviously bad guys, but he's played good guys as well, and he has a warmth about him.
Yes.
Dustin Hoffman. Um,
Yes. Speaking of Dustin Hoffman, I remembered right now Marathon Man.
oh
He did
yeah,
it in the 70s
is
with
it
Laurence
safe?
Olivier. Is it safe? and
I'm
no,
going to
and
dentist next week. Oh.
yeah, he didn't go to sleep because his character had insomnia. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he didn't go to sleep for and Laurence Olivier, I remember telling him, "My boy, you need to act. You know,
No,
not
that's
to
he
go to
needs to be
sleep."
able to function.
Yes, but I want to ask you. You did a role in a zombie film, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I want to ask you, how do you prepare for a zombie role?
that's a
And
good one.
and I want to ask you, still the genre of zombies, because every time I refresh YouTube, I found new films with zombies, werewolves, and vampires. You
Right,
know,
okay. Mm-hmm.
new ones all the time, and I think the good ones already been made. You know,
Yep.
but I want to ask you about the genre, why people and filmmakers as well are still interested. You know, and
Yeah.
especially I've seen the as well. I read last week they will be doing a sequel to this pandemic zombie film. If you remember it, what was it called? 30 Days Later. You know,
Okay.
they're doing a sequel as well. So it's a zombie pandemic film as well. Beside
Right, okay.
getting beaten by zombies, and also the mini franchise of The Walking Dead. Right
Oh
now there
yeah.
are 4 or 5 television series.
Yeah.
You know. So tell me about your experience playing the zombie. How do you prepare? You know,
Well, I
beside
don't know. Good
beating
question.
people, beating beating people.
Well, yeah,
And
it's an
why
interesting
the
one.
genre is still interesting for viewers and filmmakers alike, and actresses as
Well,
well.
well, to answer the second part of the question, I think people are fascinated by zombies because they're not dead. Well, they're kind of dead, but they're alive. And what exactly are they? And they're gory and they're just a bit yucky and menacing, and
Yes.
you don't know what they're going to do. So I think people are quite
Hmm.
fascinated by them because
Hmm.
they are grotesque versions of someone who had lived before. So
Yes.
people like seeing gory, nasty things. Um, when I was preparing for the role as the matron in Outpost Black Sun, we actually did quite a lot of rehearsals with the director, Steve Barker, and we talked about
Yes.
how she would move. And that was one of the reasons I got the part. They wanted somebody who had a bit of dance training, not that she danced at all, but just who could really think about how she would move her hands and, you know, her head and her face. And they wanted somebody with big eyes as well. So we talked about a lot of her facial expressions and what makeup I would have on and prosthetics, what would be done with my teeth, and to make sure that the black stuff that was painted on my teeth would be visible. They built my hands up as well with prosthetics and big long nails so that I could. There's a bit in the movie where I actually do that along a big pile of bodies, and it's just so creepy. I mean, my hands are quite gnarly anyway, but with these prosthetics built up, it looked really disgusting. And then we just, you know, we talked about how she would walk and how she would be very slow because she was dead. But then there was a bit, she sees somebody and she just takes off after them. And it was quite funny because the first take that we did it, I had this kind of sackcloth cape on, and the cape got caught round the camera. Oh, the cameraman nearly had a heart attack because the camera nearly fell over because my cape just kind of flew out behind me as I started running. So yeah, that was interesting. But it was to show the contrast because, you know, you're thinking, oh, this person's dead. This is a zombie. They're going to be dead slow. But actually, no, she can move like lightning as well. So that was lots of fun. But yeah, thankfully the camera survived. So yeah, we just wanted to show that, you know, she was quite menacing. And obviously when she was killing somebody, maybe she didn't kill somebody, I'm not going to say, she got to stab them with her syringes, which was also lots of fun. But the person in question who I had to stab, their chest plate was only about this size. And I was so scared that I was actually going to stab them for real. But thankfully I didn't, but it was lots of fun. So although she was very slow, she was also very quick and very fast and very evil. So it was
You
great fun.
know, so why do you still there is an interest in the genre so far?
Why? I don't,
Ho-
for me personally or just in general?
Mhm. In general, and for
In
you as well.
general, well for me, I've always been a massive fan of The Exorcist. The first time I saw it, I think I was 17, and there was a late night viewing in the cinema,
Hmm.
and I just loved it. I loved the makeup. I loved Reagan's makeup, and I thought it would be so cool to play somebody like that in a movie. So it was a dream come true when I got to play the matron. I just love goriness. I love the fact I like acting from the point of view that I can play sort of the bubbly girl and put lots of lipstick on and false eyelashes and be all nicey, or else you can get really, you can get down, you can be grimy, you can be dirty, you can dirty in all senses. You can be, you know, you can be dead, you can be grotesque, you can look
Hmm.
terrible. I just love playing it all because that's what acting is. It's playing, it's exploring different characters, it's exploring different mindsets. You can be something that you would never be in real life or you'd never dare to be in real life. So you can
Hmm.
step out of reality and try all these different things, which is great fun. And I think people just like horror. They love watching all sorts of goriness and blood. And I think people like being scared as well, especially when it comes to sort of scary movies like ghost movies and sort of paranormal stuff. People are fascinated by it. And I think it's because there's so much that we still don't know about when it comes to the paranormal that we're all still rather intrigued. Because I think there's a lot
Yes,
more out here, paranormal wise, than meets the eye. And I think our brains are probably a lot more powerful than we realize. You know,
yes,
I think we're always transmitting frequencies, and you know, the number of times, you know, before mobile phones, I'm showing my age, but I would pick up the house phone to phone my friend, and they would already be on the other end, and they phoned me at the
yes,
exact same time, and I've picked it up before the phone's even rung. That kind of thing. Or I mean, I always know what my mum's thinking. So I know that's kind of veered off from horror movies, but I think there's a lot of unexplored territory that we're all a bit fascinated by. And I think that's probably the same with sort of zombies as well. Maybe zombies do exist. Maybe we've got zombies living in amongst us.
Who
Certainly in
knows?
Glasgow,
Yes.
there's a few suspect people that wander about that may well be zombies.
You know,
But no,
the last horror film I've seen, it was released this year. It's called In a Violent Nature.
okay,
Okay.
right.
And believe me, I fast forwarded the gore scenes. It was
Mhm.
horrible.
Oh, really? In a good way, though.
Can you see the comments? We have Liz here writing
Hi,
to
Liz.
you. Uh,
Hello,
Liz
Liz. Liz is a
Lindenbauer.
wonderful screenwriter.
Uh-huh.
Aw, you too,
Thank
Liz.
you.
Liz is great at writing. She's so funny.
Mhm,
Get this
mhm,
girl a Hollywood writing agent. She's fab.
mhm.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you,
You're
Liz.
making me blush.
Mhm. I want to ask you about uh, right now. Um, uh, do you focus on film, television, or theater, or you try to find your way through the three medium?
That's a very good question. I
Hmm.
enjoy all of it. I was in a stage show in March called Dirty Water, The Inspection, which
Yes.
is a Glasgow comedy show. So that was part of the Glasgow Comedy Festival. So that was great
Hmm.
fun. And I played two contrasting characters in that. I played a very nicey nice girl who wore a pretty dress and was terribly lovely and flirty and just nice.
Hmm.
Just a nice, fun person. And then, oh, thank you very much. Who is G? I wonder who that is.
C.
Thank you very much.
G. J.
G449. Thank you so much. But then I also played another character who was what we call a Glasgow chav, who
Hmm.
a chav's like a kind of rough person, very all right, how you doing, you know, broad Glaswegian accent. And she was out to make the other character's life a misery. So she was a bad guy, although she was a girl.
Hmm.
Bad character, whatever you want to say. But yeah, it was great fun to play such contrasting characters. So I love doing the theatre. I love the immediacy of it, and I love the fact that you can make an audience laugh. Or with the show I was talking about, Bog Off, where I played the drug addict, I saw quite a lot of the audience crying at certain parts. So to sort of go, oh my goodness, I'm provoking this reaction is a really powerful thing. But in
Hmm.
saying that, I love film and television because I love the process. I love you know from the sitting in the makeup chair to filming your scenes quite often out of sequence, and then you watch it on the TV and you go, ah, that's what it all came to look like at the end. Whereas
Hmm.
it is a jigsaw puzzle, so it's always really nice to see the finished product at the end and go, ah, it makes sense now. Because quite often when you're doing film, you don't, because you don't always see the other scenes with the other actors or the other
Sure.
characters. Sometimes
Hmm.
things, excuse me, sometimes things don't always work out in the way that you expect them to. So
Hmm.
yeah, I love the process, but I love the immediacy of theatre, but also love the process of film and TV. It's all great. I love it all. It's great, and I love
Yeah.
voiceovers as well and voice acting. So I just love the whole industry. It's amazing.
Yes. Speaking of the industry, I've seen you've been the last 3 years in many festivals, you
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
and you won several awards. But I want to ask you from your perspective as a performer, as an actress. Film festival right now, they do still, besides screening your film and maybe getting awards, is still the film festivals right now like a good meeting point for an actress to get to know new colleagues, new
Definitely.
filmmakers, new or everything right now is online, and we became in a virtual world.
I know. Well, in saying that, I'm actually going to be going to the Edinburgh Film Festival this week.
Hmm.
Later on this week, I managed to get an industry pass. Goodness, I can't speak. Ugh, that's without alcohol. Yeah, I've got an
Hmm.
industry pass for that, so I'm planning to go to a few events at that to meet people and just network. Because I often think that sometimes you can go to all the auditions in the world, but if you actually know people and they go, oh yeah, that's the girl that we met at such and such a night in Edinburgh. She was great fun. It's like double. double security almost, because they go, oh yeah, we've met her before, she's cool, or she's good fun, or oh yeah, because that's what happened with Outpost Black Sun. Basically, Steve Barker was in the bar with his friend Marcus Harbin, who sadly is no longer with us, which is just
Mm-hmm.
shocking because he was an incredible writer and director and one of my best friends. But they were in the bar together, and Steve said to Marcus, "Right, I'm looking for an actress who's got freakishly big eyes, an expressive face, who can move well. Do you know anyone?" And Marcus went, "What about her?" and brought my Facebook profile up. Oh my goodness, okay, let me meet her. So I think that's half the battle. If you know people and you build a relationship with them and they trust you, then they will hopefully use you or get you back in again for a further production. Because there's just so much, there's so much competition out there, and I think it's just a constant battle all the time. So networking is of the utmost importance. It really is, and you've
Mm-hmm.
got to constantly be in people's heads. That's what I think anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a difficult industry. It's so difficult, and I think it's even harder now than it was when I started
Mm-hmm.
several years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes,
Back in
yes.
the
I
day when
think
I used to get cast for adverts from casting directors that would look at a picture on the casting website that I was on and go, okay, she'll do. Whereas now
yes,
you have to audition for every single part and every single advert. Whereas before they just go, do you know what? We'll get him, her, and him. They can be in it.
yes,
They look good. We'll just them just to make sure. But now everything's very official and very by the book, or that's how it seems to me anyway. So
yes,
it's an interesting
yes.
one. It's a tough industry, one to crack, definitely. I'm still chipping away, but I'm not going to stop.
So yes, no, yes. Do you have certain projects coming up during the next period of the year?
Yeah, well, yes, I'm obviously going to the Edinburgh Film Festival this week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to the Fringe as well and see some shows, but obviously they're not specific to me being projects wise. But I'm going to be doing a short film called Bambola, which is the same team who made Censure and Confines. So this is hopefully my time to shine. Each
Mm-hmm.
film's always had a main character with supporting characters. So Bambola, I believe, I'm the leading character. She's a very menacing character as well. So I think it will be really good fun. We're still waiting to confirm dates, but I'm very excited about that. I'm hopefully going to be working again with Matt Taylor, who I was in Tealight for. He wrote Tealight and directed that. So hopefully we've got something coming up then as well. Possibly something with an American company, but who knows? It's all very hush hush, and nothing is ever really set in stone. So we'll just need to wait and see what
Mm-hmm.
happens.
Yes,
I'm trying to think what else. I feel like there probably are other things, and my brain's just blanked because this is what happens. Um, yeah, hopefully a couple more short films and things. I'm doing the 48-hour film festival again this year, so that'll be good. That's in October. So we'll just see what happens. What I normally find is projects come up when I'm least
yes.
expecting them.
Agree.
And if I'm going, oh my goodness, I need an acting job, I need this, nothing happens. But as soon as I just sit back and go, right, let's see what happens, I get a phone call or I get sent a script or whatever, just when I'm least expecting it. So I think the best thing is just to keep an open mind and not panic. And usually things, fingers crossed, do always work out. So we'll just see what happens. But I'd like to say I've got 40 feature
Let's see.
films coming up, but who knows? We'll just see what happens. But I don't have nothing coming up. We've got bits and pieces coming up, so that's exciting.
Hopefully. Okay,
Okay.
Vivian, I want to thank you very, very much for coming to the live, especially after the holidays.
Oh no, thank
And
you. It's my pleasure.
I wish you all the best in your upcoming projects. I will
Thank you
look
very
for your
much.
film on YouTube to watch it today
Okay,
as well. And
excellent.
I hope you can come back soonest, not three
I hope
years,
so.
gap.
Well, thank you. I
When
just
you
don't
have a new,
stop talking. That's the thing.
when you
Quiet,
have a new,
Vivian. If you need somebody to talk, she'll talk. But no, thank you very
Ne-
much. I really enjoyed that, and I hope whoever was watching, I hope you enjoyed it too.
yes, thank you everybody who was in the live, and and let's hope we see Vivian in new interesting roles and projects in the upcoming period.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Vivian.
Yes, you
Have a
too. Take
lovely
care.
evening.
I will. Don't
In
worry.
Yeah. Take care. Bye bye.
You too. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.